All right, in this video, I'm going to be going over the best lead generation method for online coaches or info sellers. So if you're actually serious about growing your business, getting more leads, generating new sales, this is going to be very, very, very important for you to understand. So I'm just going to dive straight into it. Before I can explain anything, we have to have the same definitions in order for you to understand where I'm coming from. So the way I see a lead is a person you could potentially sell to, right? So a lead is someone who DMs you a keyword. A lead is someone who follows you or is interested. A lead is someone who starts a conversation with you or applies to you, right? I think we can all agree that you need more leads. Like you just need more leads. Like you could do with more leads and make more money with your business, right? That's a very, very big problem in most businesses is lead generation. Like how do I get more people interested in what I have to actually sell? Right? Because more leads, if you just had more leads, you'd have more room to book calls and you'd have more room to actually collect the cash, right? Regardless of how bad your systems are, you're just going to have more opportunity, right? And I mean, that's just a basic observation. And let's just really quickly compare person A versus person B. Person A over here generating 100 conversations a month or getting 100 DMs a month versus someone generating 10 conversations a month or 10 DMs a month. Who is going to make more money, right? It's obviously person A. Person A is going to make more money because he has more opportunity, more people interested in what he has to sell. Okay? So there's a big problem here. Like, how do you actually get someone to be interested? Well, one of those ways is Instagram story sequences. Instagram story sequences. Why? Because it's a direct way for you to reach your audience, put a stimulus in front of your audience. And if that stimulus is good, if the copy is good, if the pictures are good, if the message is good, if the sounds are good, they're going to reach out to you. Okay. So Instagram stories, and it's just like a direct way. Like you could just do it instantly and instantly reach your audience. So the problem here is that I'm gonna explain to you what the problem is with this analogy. So if someone you knew, but not personally, right? You know them, but it's not personal, came up to you and said to randomly do 100 100 push-ups, what are you gonna do? You're probably gonna be wondering, okay, why should I? What's in it for me? Like, why is this person asking me to do 100 push-ups, and what do I get if I do 100 push-ups in the first place, right? And your story viewers are wondering the exact same thing when you make a bad story CTA. So a lot of you guys know, okay, posting on my story a CTA is a good way for me to generate the leads that I'm trying to get from my audience because I'm posting YouTube videos and I'm posting Instagram Reels, but I'm not getting any leads. So I use my stories to actually generate those new leads. The thing is, you're not doing them correctly. And your story viewers are wondering why they should actually reach out to you when you make a bad story CTA. Like you're making a call to action being like, hey, DM me this keyword or go watch this YouTube video, but they have no idea why, right? They have no idea what's in it for them. You're asking them to reach out to you. They have no idea what they get from it. Other than that, they might be harassed and pitched. And other than that, you look greedy or you look like you just want to sell them something or it's in your best interest and not their best interest, right? So the key here is that you have to give them a reason. You have to give them a reason to take whatever action it is that you want them to take. If it's DMing keyword, you have to give them a strong argument and reason as to why they should do that, right? And so story sequences are a way for us to give a reason to our audience every single week so they want to reach out to us if done correctly. Okay? Big key. If done correctly. Because the most people, they do it bad and they just post a CTA or they don't know really what they're trying to do when posting a CTA and it doesn't get the point across and people don't end up DMing. And then they throw away story sequences and throw away the whole method of using stories to actually generate leads away because they executed it poorly. Right? When in reality, it's one of the best ways that you could actually generate new leads. So let me use this to explain again why story sequences are so important, especially over the long term. So this little orange dot is just a launched story sequence. I'm just gonna say that, okay? So say you're launching one every single week, and this is the calendar. So month one with story sequences, and every single week you're launching a story sequence, and that story sequence is generating you 20 new leads, and you're doing this consistently for the month. So now by the end of the month, you get 20, 20, 20, 20, you have a total of 80 new leads. And those 80 new leads or 80 new conversations and DMs turn into 20 booked calls. And out of those 20 booked calls, 15 of them show up, and then 5 close at $2,000. And that's $10,000 a month. Okay, so these are arbitrary numbers, but let's move on to the next month. Let's see what happens in month 2. You, again, are posting story sequences consistently. So 2020, 2020, you have the 80 new leads, just like the previous month. But what you don't realize is that you're getting 20 old leads from the previous month, right? Because these 80 new leads, even though only 5 of them closed, you still have 75 people who didn't close, right? So these people don't just like disappear. They still have the potential to close. Like a lot of them still have the potential to close. So not only do you have the 80 new leads that you actually generated with these story sequences, but you have the 20 from the previous month. So now you can start to see the compounding factor you have here when you're consistently posting story sequences or consistently have a lead generation method in place to be generating you new leads, right? So story sequences generates new leads, but you can still close the old leads. So again, month 3, the same thing, but you have 40 old leads from the previous 2 months. So now you have 120 total leads. And then month 4, 80 new leads, 80 old leads. So now the total is 160. So you went from having 80 new leads on month 1 to, in month 4, 160 total leads. So just imagine, and this is only saying that you get 20 leads from every story sequence that you post, right? So this could be less, this could be more, based on your skill and how good you are at actually posting the story sequences and how strong of an audience or connection you have with your audience, right? So there's a lot of other factors, but the concept is still valid. You posting consistently or having a system in place, posting story sequence every single week is going to be generating you new leads. But not only generating you new leads, it's going to be building your total amount of leads. So this is how you have like random deals come to you. Like you're going throughout the month, maybe you're not doing anything, and then all of a sudden you have new deals coming to you because of the work that you did in the previous months, right? Because you're building your total amount of leads that you have. So I had this another little analogy. It might be weird, but I think it drills the point. So I want you to imagine that your leads are like popcorn kernels, right? And you have your YouTube videos, your daily stories, and your Instagram reels, and they're warming up these popcorn kernels. And whenever you post a story sequence, it is essentially the popping point for the kernel, right? So you launch a story sequence and pop, they become a booked call or sale. But without the story sequence, they'll never really become that, or you might just get lucky for one popping, right? The story sequence is really the initiating factor to them becoming a booked call or sale. And here I have another comparison, right? Look at the difference between someone who has 1,000 kernels or 1,000 leads versus someone who has 100 kernels or 100 leads. The 1,000 kernels have 50 pops or 50 book calls. 40 of them show up and 8 close at $2,000, which is $16,000 total, right? Now, let's use the same ratios in the second example. 100 kernels, 5 pops, 5 book calls, 4 show up, 1 closes at $2K. So that's a total of $2,000. Look at the difference between the same ratios, and one business owner has 1,000 leads total and one business owner has 100 leads total. This one's making $16,000 a month. This one's making $2,000 a month. Right? Just because he decided to do something consistently, which is run his lead generation method, which in this example can be your story sequences, makes him an extra $14,000 a month. Right? And these are arbitrary numbers, but the point still hits, right? You always need to be building your basket, always be generating new conversations, always be getting new DMs. And the way you do that is by having a system in place, which is the story sequences. If you post a story sequence every single week that is intentional to drive conversions, you're going to be building up that lead base, right? Which overall, as you run it, you're going to be making more money. Right now, I have the next concept to explain to you. Check out this. So, what is the difference between someone who watches your story sequence and doesn't take action and the person who does take action, who actually DMs you the keyword or is interested in actually working with you? What is the difference? The only difference is this: PNC. What? Pain and confidence. The person who takes action has enough pain, perceived pain around their problem or situation, and they have enough confidence in you and your ability to actually solve it. So when their pain and confidence are high enough, right? And what I mean by pain is like they literally cannot tolerate the problem anymore, to the point to where they feel like they need to take action, or taking action is less painful than dealing with the problem that they have. Right? So if you're really, really pissed at sitting around $20,000 a month because you want to be at 50, and that is it's just killing you, you have enough pain to where you would feel like you need to reach out to someone for help to solve that problem. Right? So that's what I mean by pain. You need to have high enough pain, or they need to have high enough pain for them to actually feel like they need to solve the problem. And then they also, for them to solve the problem with you, need to have enough confidence in your ability to actually solve it. Make sense? That's the difference between someone who actually ends up converting or listening to you or taking the action that you called them to take, and someone who just watches and scrolls, keeps scrolling, right? So let's apply this in the short term, and let's apply this in the long term. What do I mean by that, right? Short-term conversion and long-term conversion. So I want you to imagine these bars as the level of pain and confidence that someone has, that one person has, right? And then this dotted line is the point to where they actually convert, or they get to that action taking state. So like once they're over this line, then they actually DM'd you a keyword, or they took action, right? So this is an example of one story sequence over the span of like 5 minutes, right? They're watching your story sequence, they're clicking through it, and it's like 5 minutes, maybe not even 5 minutes, a minute, right? Their pain confidence at the beginning of the story 1, is very, very low, right? They don't know what they're getting into. You just hook them in. Story 2, you're starting to frame the problem. Story 3, you're starting to take the pain. Story 4, you're starting to hint at the solution and what they could have in the dream scenario. And then story 5, you make the call to action. And finally, you built up that pain and confidence for them to feel like they need to reach out to you. They feel safe enough or willing enough to actually DM you the keyword. Boom, that's a lead converted. So that's what I mean by short-term conversion. So in the short term, you need to be building pain and confidence, but you also need to be building confidence in the long term. What do I mean by this? So say this person didn't actually end up converting. Say this was red, right? Let's make this red. And it was below. You didn't quite make it. The story sequence wasn't good enough. They didn't have enough trust with you. They didn't have enough confidence. You couldn't build enough pain. Something went wrong, right? Which is going to happen. Like, not everyone is going to take action when you're making a story sequence, right? So what do? Well, you don't stop and don't say, oh, it just didn't work. You continue building the pain and confidence over time with your audience and with those people, right? So month 1, let's say the pain confidence is really low. After 4 of these story sequences, their pain confidence is still low. But month 2, you're building. Month 3, you're building. Month 4, you're building. And finally, month 5, after 9 story sequences or whatever, after 13 YouTube videos, 22 reels, and daily stories over 5 months, they finally built enough pain and confidence to actually reach out to you or become interested or book a call or whatever it is, or take the action that you wanted them to take. Right? So now you see the importance in the long-term conversion of building pain confidence. So why is this important? Like, why am I explaining this to you? I'm showing you the importance of actually making calls to action, or calls to actions consistently. Because if you're not doing this, if you're not making story sequences, if you're not building this emotional momentum both over the short term and the long term, one, if you're not doing it in the short term, you're never going to get people to actually reach out to you. You're just posting content for no reason. Or it's just lucky and random, and you should rely on that as a business owner. You should have a system in place that is consistently making short-term conversions, but you're not building pain and confidence in the long term. Like, imagine if you didn't consistently make effective call to actions or effective story sequences that were building pain and action. Your bar would literally just look like this every single time. Like, if you're not doing these, it's just sitting down here and they're just like watching your content and you're never going anywhere. When you could be building or having this compounding factor on your side and actually making sure that you're moving the needle psychologically for your audience to the point where they eventually become a client or customer. Right? So this is why story sequences, if you're a coach or an online info seller and you're on Instagram, you're on YouTube, you need to be posting or have some sort of lead generation method, which the best one I'm saying is Instagram stories, consistently making call to actions. Otherwise, you're not doing this. You're not building the pain confidence and you're going to be lacking a lot of leads. You're going to be completely like, you could be way higher or making way more progress than what you currently are, right? So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, you can DM me on IG and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.